Okay. All right. So I'm super excited that you guys are here today. My name is Alyssa Shoemaker. I have been a coach almost for 6 years. Um, wow, that's like super crazy to say that. I am a 5-time elite coach. We'll be a 6-time elite team this year, which makes me really, really excited. I started my business really after being a registered nurse and just wanting more for my life. I love helping people, and I felt like I really wasn't making a difference working as a nurse at the time. And so I just wanted something where I could be home with my kids and be able to make some extra income and really just have like a purpose in my life. And I found that with coaching. I felt like I was really making a difference. And I grew a pretty big business relatively quickly. And I left the nursing profession 9 months after I started my business, and I just kind of went full blown into coaching. I felt really, I guess I was really in a situation where my husband kind of gave me an ultimatum, and he said, you know, I'm going to give you 6 months and we're going to make this work. And if not, then, you know, get a job. And so that's kind of where I was at. My back was really against the wall. And I've had just, I can say the best thing, you guys, that's come to me from coaching is the growth that I've had. And just really being a completely different person than when I was before coaching. And so I know that I'm talking to you guys tonight about Instagram stories, but a lot of why I'm so passionate about Instagram stories and why I felt like I've had this kind of own rebirth within my business is that, you know, being an entrepreneur, you have ups and downs. Your business is going to change. It's not this straight trajectory line. And if you guys are looking at anybody that are on these calls or on the National Wake Up Call or anybody that you really admire, I think it's really important to know that you're going to have high highs and you're going to have really low lows, right? And you've got to be, for one, you've got to expect that. And for two, when you have those lows, how are you going to pick yourself back up? What are you going to do to get yourself re-engaged again? And what are you going to do to really get yourself going? And so in my own story, I really climbed this pinnacle of success. And I think it's because of the fact that I had my back against the wall when I started. I had just lost my grandfather. I wanted nothing more than to be home with my kids. I wasn't feeling fulfilled in my business. I was working extra hours to try to make extra income. And I just needed this to work. And so I really had this huge, huge why of why I started my business. And I did things really outside of my comfort zone. And I grew this big business, but in this process, I also got lazy and I got complacent. And so I think that as a leader and as a business owner, like we always have to be checking ourselves. We always have to be thinking about the future, and we always have to be thinking about what is keeping us engaged and what are we here for. So a couple of things that I thought about was, like, what is my why? And I know you guys, we talk about this all the time, right? Having like a super strong why. But if you're not motivated right now in your business, if you're not taking action, which you guys are all on this call, and so I want to give you guys like a big warm hug and congratulate you guys all for being here and for showing up, because that's huge. But I just wanted to say, like, if you don't have that why that's going to carry you through, if you don't know why you're showing up every day on social media, you're going to quit, okay? Number one. Number two, what is your vision? What is your vision for your life? And I mean for 5 years from now. Where do you want to be? Because so often we look at these little disciplines that we have, right? Working out, personal development, inviting, sharing our stories. But are you looking at where this is going to take you? What is your vision 5 years from now? Do you believe in this vision that you have for your life? Because your actions that you do today is what's going to create that legacy, right? It's what's going to create that vision that you want to have, that vision that you want to have come true. And so these are really good things we think about when we're brand new coaches. But I think we need to check ourselves frequently and ask ourselves, what are we working towards? The third thing that I really had to get clear on is, what are my shoulds that I need to turn into musts? What are things in my business that I'm shoulda, woulda, coulda all day, but that I have to turn into musts in my business? Look, I'm at a point in my business where I am never going back to corporate America. I am not going back that way. I am an entrepreneur. I want to work for myself. I want that freedom. Maybe you are not there yet, but you're going to be there. Maybe that's what your goal is. why are you working towards that? Understand that every day, if I don't show up in my business, it doesn't just affect me. It affects my family. It affects my kids. It affects the people that I want to impact, right? And so we have to think about not only what your why is and not only what your vision is, what the things that you need to be turning into must are, but you also have to be thinking about what happens today if you don't show up for these things. You know, what happens? We think about even our workouts, right? Maybe in 3 months, 9 months down the line, you're thinking about what your body's gonna look like, but think about 5 years from now. What is this healthy lifestyle? What does this personal development do for you now for the life that you're going to create? Can you guys hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay. So really, really important things that you need to really think about, because the actions that we're taking now, it's not for today, it's not for tomorrow. We talk about Beachbody all the time. We talk about how it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and that's for real. You see a lot of people, they start picking up and having a lot of success 2 years into their business, and that's because of that consistency factor, because they're working towards their business. So every day, I need you guys to ask yourselves those questions, right? And make sure that the actions that you're taking are going towards that vision, right? And that perfect person that needs to hear your story. Okay, so I got really clear on myself with that about 6 months ago. Actually, it was this summer, so 4 months ago, we'll say. And I got really, really clear on that with myself, because there were times in my business where I was really being complacent. There were times in my business where I wasn't really doing the things that I must do, right? Should probably do them, but I really wasn't turning them into must within my business. And it came down to what was I showing up for, right? And I had gotten so used to just being able to like run an Instagram ad or do a shout out that I would have all of these people come to me in my business, and I wasn't being intentional with my work, okay? So I wanted to share that with you quickly before I talk about Instagram stories, because this is really the backbone to all of that. You know, when I got really clear and I decided that enough was enough, I was gonna do the hard work. I was gonna do the work of the connecting and the work of really serving my audience and the work of really putting myself out there, is when I had to get really clear and decide that Instagram stories was gonna be the best way for me to share my message. Now, maybe for you, it might be blogging, maybe you're better at, writing posts out, but I know in the way that social media is going, that people are ultimately gonna do business with people that they know, people that they like, people that they trust, right? And so if I was just going through my motions on social media, and I was just going through my motions on my story, but I really didn't have an intention there, and I really didn't have a purpose there, then all of the work that I'm doing wasn't really gonna make any sense, right? So first things first, who are you? All right, you've got to know who you are. Now, when I was going through all this kind of like turbulence, I say, and confusion within my business about 6 months ago, I really didn't know who I was. And if I don't know who I am, then I don't know who I'm looking to attract, right? Because like attracts like. If you're at a point right now in your business and you're not attracting people like yourself, I want to see a hands up. Because I know that there was a time in my business where I was not attracting people that were go-getters. I was not attracting people like myself, right? And I was wondering why. And it was because I didn't know who my audience was. I didn't know who I was speaking to, right? And so I had to get back to myself, and I had to get back to my story and back to the beginning. And in the beginning, the reason why I started my business is because I wanted to create something from home that made me have purpose, that made me had a community, right? I know that I served nurses, and so I had to really get back there. I had to get really, really clear. And I was so on this like lifestyle marketing on Instagram that people didn't even know like who I was or what my story was. So guys, get really, really clear on who you are. Stop before you guys do anything else. And I know that, we go through inviting and all of these different things, but if you're not actually like connecting with your person, you can have the best social media content out there and you can pour your heart and soul out there. But guess what? You're speaking to the wrong playground, right? They're not even gonna hear anything that you have to say because your story isn't connected with that particular person. So get really, really clear on that. Second, decide who it is that you want to work with, right? You guys know that we pour our hearts and our souls into our challengers and into the girls that you guys partner up with. And so you have to know, like, who is it that you want to work with, right? We say this all the time, and maybe you're just starting and you're like, man, I would help anyone, right? I would help a 5-year-old to an 80-year-old because I want everybody to feel really, really good. But at the end of the day, social media has rules. And you have to follow these rules. And I think that this is a part in my own business where I went kind of wrong. You know, I was such a lifestyle influencer, I guess, that I talked a lot about meditation, and I talked a lot about personal development, and I talked a lot about these things. But when you came to my page, you really didn't know who I was. You really didn't know what I was all about. And so I had to put myself in a bracket. I had to decide that this was the kind of influencer that I was going to be. So are you a fitness influencer? Are you a mom influencer? You know, what kind of influencer do you fall under? And I realized that I really fall under more of the medical influencer, right? I thought this whole time that it was more like a fitness influencer, but I realized that I'm more of a medical influencer. I'm more of that person that has a nursing background. I have a lot that I can share, and that's really where my target market is. So if you don't know, if somebody is coming to your page right now and you don't fall into a specific category, they have to know who you are or what you stand for. All right, so make sure that whatever, you know, lifestyle area that you want to go into, whether it's, you know, medical or fitness or motherhood or you know, whatever avenue you want to take, make sure that you go all in really on that area, because that's what you're going to find, and that's how you're going to connect with your particular people. Okay, now the second thing is that I realized that I've done a lot of things that weren't so good on social media. And here's what I mean by that. I've had people work my accounts for me, right? I've had an assistant that's helped me with my accounts. I've used different apps. I know a lot of people talk about using like 21 Social or Jumper Media or any of those things. And I'm not going to say that those things are bad because I think that they have their place. But here's what I do know, all right? That I am there to serve my particular community, and only I can do that, right? Only I can bring my particular message out into the world, right? And if I'm relying on these other people, do I really know if they know my person? We know our person better than anybody else does. And I think that with all these changes that are going on within Instagram, I think that we can get really frustrated. We can worry about the algorithm. We can worry about all these things. But the end result is that if you're showing up authentically yourself, and if you're serving your community in the way that it needs to be served, you're never going to have to worry about the algorithm. You're not going to have to worry about those kind of things, right? And so I decided that I was going to go more slow and controlled, and, you know, manually adding in who I'm going to follow. And I'm sure you guys all know about, you know, doing the 5 comments, like liking on 5 pictures and then leaving 3 comments and sending a message. And I started doing that. I started really focusing on building up that community within my Instagram stories, because I don't want to have to worry about the algorithm. I don't want to have to worry about all of these other things, right? I wanted to be able to take control over my own business again. So maybe you might be in that same situation where maybe you're delegating out a lot of your work. You know, maybe you're sitting there and you're not actually doing everything, and you can't do that. The thing about success, no matter what, you can take shortcuts, right? You can take shortcuts to success, but it's never going to replace you. It's never going to replace the work that you have to do. And I see so many coaches, and the reason why I just wanted to mention this quickly is because I see so many coaches that are like, you know, how do I do Instagram ads, or how do I do a shout out, or how do I do all these things? And I'm not going to poo-poo those things for you, because they will grow your business. But nothing is going to grow your business like you showing up for your community, and you serving your community, and you creating that community within your page. And so that's what I started to really change. So I started to look at my Instagram stories more as my community, as my house, right? How many of us focus so much on the social media? We focus on the media aspect, right? Like what your filter is going to look like, what the particular angle the picture is going to be, and your lighting, and all of those things, and maybe the post underneath it, right? But really, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, if you're not being interested in other people, they're not going to be interested back into you. All right, so you have to start using your Instagram like your community, right? If somebody comes to your house and is standing outside of your door right now, you might be thinking to yourself, I have 10 people. I only have 10 people that are viewing my story. Well, think about 10 people standing on your lawn right now and that are looking at you, all right, that are staring at you. Would you just let that person stand there outside your house, or would you like open the door and say, hey, like, I'm excited that you're here, why are you at my house, right? Same kind of thing when it comes to your social media. You guys should know who your followers are. If you guys don't know who your followers are, make sure you guys know who the people are that are following along on your stories. They're there for a reason, right? And when it comes to growing a big business, like, you don't have to have 500,000 followers. Like, that might be a really beautiful thing, but if you have 1,000 engaged followers, that's all you really need for a legit business. You can serve 1,000 people and you can make a huge impact, and you can grow a really, really big business by just focusing on that 1,000 people. So focus on the people that you already have. Make sure that you guys are giving them content, right? And here's some things that you guys can kind of know about doing that. So number one, how are you serving your people? Are you online? Is it all about like you? Like, here's my personal development book I read. Here's my workout that I did. Here's my new shirt that I'm wearing. Or are you asking them questions? Are you asking them more about themselves, right? If somebody was responding to their polls, are you responding back to them, and are you starting that conversation back with them? We have to realize that when it comes to social media, it's a give and it's a take. It goes both ways. So you can't expect a community to be built if you're not giving back to that person. All right. Do you know what the girls that are following you, do you know what their pleasures are? And do you know what their pain points are? If you don't know this about your audience, you need to ask them. You need to know what it is that they like to do. And I like to do polls to know this. Like, do they like coffee more than tea? Do they like at-home workouts, or do they rather work out at the gym? What kind of profession are they in? You have to make sure that you are asking them questions so that you get to know them, right? It's not a one-way conversation. It's not a one-way street. And then, having that serving attitude. All right, we can sometimes take for granted the people that are showing up on our feed, right? We can take for granted the people that are responding to our stories and might go on to the next move. But we really have to come from a serving attitude and really be really grateful for every single person that is showing up on our timeline, for every single person that is there. I think sometimes, we look at this whole coaching thing and we forget that without these boot camps, without the challenge groups, without these mini challenges, without all of this stuff, then we don't really have a business, right? And I know a lot of times my coaches can complain about running boot camps, they can complain about all these things, but at the end results, this is the service that you are offering. And your social media is really your business card. So if you're in here and you're like, I'm not making sales, or I have all these links out and nobody wants to buy from me, what kind of value are you offering them? Why should they buy from you? What makes you different than anybody else? Because as you know, they could just go on Beachbody On Demand and they can order it from there. So what makes you different? What kind of value are you offering them? So whether it's sending them a blog post or maybe some recipes, right? Right now on my particular page, if you check it out, I'm doing a plank challenge. So I'm doing a plank and a think challenge right now on my page, and I'm just getting everybody involved and doing daily plank challenges. So maybe some of the things that you guys do within your free 7-day groups, maybe you run like a squat challenge, or you have like a water challenge. Start doing those things in your community. Start just serving them from where they're at. They don't have to get into a group or something like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting messages. Hold on a second. Okay, better? Sorry. Okay, I just got a message. All right, guys, sorry about that. So, but I started doing mini challenges on my stories, right? So instead of just doing them in a little 7-day group, I've started doing them more on my actual stories, because when I went back to what that why was, when I went back to the impact that I really wanted to make, it's because I want people to feel better. I want people to be healthier. I want people to see results and to feel good and to be happy, right? And so why am I not doing that on my stories? Why am I not doing those things right now that are going to get people involved? Because when I do that, it's going to correlate to what's happening in my boot camp, and people are going to want to get involved in that, right? So start thinking about the kind of value that you're offering into your own audience. Would you follow yourself? You know, who are some of the people that you like to follow, and look at all of the value that they offer to you, all right? And a good way to do that is have one of your good friends evaluate you. Have your success partner go and evaluate your stories. Does it tell a story? Every day when you're looking at your stories, it should tell a story. It should speak to a particular individual, and you should be offering that person value and a reason to really show up. And that's where I was going all wrong in my business, right? I was like, all right, well, all these people are liking my stuff and people are dropping comments below. And I felt like I almost reflect back that I was taking advantage, not taking advantage, I was not being considerate for the people that were showing up on my page, right? I wasn't being really considerate and offering them really what I could offer them. And I think that when you go from a place of, you know, me, and you change it into this place of how can I serve them and what can I offer them and what can I do from this person and offer that best freaking customer service that you can offer, people are gonna feel good and your business is gonna change, you know? And I think we think about all these freemiums and all these different things that you can offer, but start using your Instagram stories for these freemiums, or installing your Instagram stories to offer all of this free value that you could just offer in your boot camps or in these freemiums, okay? Polls. So I want to quickly talk about polls. I know that we talk about using polls a lot in our business. So there's polls, there's questions, there's hashtags or sliders. And what I love about polls is I used to just use polls just for call to actions for my boot camps or call to actions for coaching, right? Like, do you want more information? Yes. Of course, I always say yes. And of course I say I'm in, because they really have no option. When I say it, they both have to choose yes. But I do that a lot, right? But I started to, again, go back to why am I doing what I'm doing? Who am I here to serve, right? And I want to create engagement. I want to create a community. So I started to use my polls to start to ask them a lot more questions. And it really started to help me understand the need of my audience. And then also it helps me for like our future groups that we have, right? So if I ask my target audience, do they prefer yoga or do they prefer HIIT? Now I have a whole group of people that when we come out with new programs, I know, okay, this girl really likes HIIT, this girl really likes weight training, this really likes yoga, right? You can use the same kind of thing. Do you do better with portion control, or you do better with flexible dieting? Are you more an intuitive eater, or do you like to have a strict plan? Use some of these questions so that you can learn and get data about the audience that is following you. The more information that you have about your particular audience and the people that are following along, the better you're going to be able to serve their needs, the better you're going to be able to hit their pain and then also their pleasure points, okay? Geotags, and I just wanted to talk about this too quickly. I just know with so many things that have changed with social media, one of the things that I started to really do was to start geotagging everything. And I know that like this is not new for any of you guys, but I really started to connect with people that are in the Pittsburgh area, which I'd never done before. I had always kind of built my business all online. My team is really all over the United States and Canada. But when I was gone at our team retreat a couple weeks ago, I decided like it would be really awesome to grow a business in Pittsburgh where I could meet with these girls and I could have a community here. And so I've really started to really geotag areas in Pittsburgh and just areas where I like to go and start interacting, start connecting with those girls. And I'm meeting a couple of them for coffee next week, which is really, really cool. So start thinking about like your geotags, also about how you can start to build a community and make an impact just where you actually live outside of social media as well. Awesome, Ashley. Ashley said she was in Pittsburgh too. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys to help you guys out today with your social media. But one thing that I just kind of want to finish this with that I think is really, really important is that our job, I think that over time, like I kind of took for granted the job that I have as a coach and just the impact that we really are allowed to really make, right? And just really how important our business really is. And I don't know how long you guys have been coaches. I don't know if you guys have been coaches for a long time like I have. But I think that it's really, really important to get back to that place and to understand that, you know, yeah, we might be in network marketing, but we're all in this because we see a potential. We know that these products have changed our lives and we want to impact other people. So if you're here and you're like, you know, I don't know, and you're feeling frustrated in your business, I want you to go back to that. I want you to go back to why you guys started as a coach for number one. And number two, I want you to realize that this is an absolute gift. The fact that I'm on this call with you guys tonight and there's 240 of you guys and I get to share with you guys on my heart, that's really, really amazing to me. And I think that we all really need to get back to that place that, you know, no matter what happens, if there's, you know, problems with the business, or, you know, maybe a product doesn't go so well, or whatever frustrations you might have, we're all in a spot where this is it's a gift, and it's a privilege to be able to help other people. So if you guys are running your free groups, or the way you guys show up on Instagram or whatever, remember that it's all your business card, and it always represents like who you are and what your purpose is, right? And what your passion is, and the legacy that you guys are gonna make in this world. So start thinking about that, start thinking about the people that you can really impact, start thinking about where you're taking your life and what's gonna happen with those people in the next 5 years, and what can you really do? What can you really, you know, use this platform that you've been given and do something really, really awesome with it. You know, use this as the gift that it really, really is. And I know a lot of times that it might be financially, but physically, mentally, spiritually, the community, all things that don't cost a penny have been some of the biggest gifts that I've had within my business. And I feel like I'm selfish if I don't share this with other people, and that there's a lot of people in this world that will not benefit if I don't show up. And I hope that you guys feel that same way too about the people that you guys are serving, and just what a gift that this is, and just that you guys are part of something really, really amazing. I know, like I said, we can get crazy, the holidays are approaching or whatever else, but I just want you guys to know that you guys are an absolute blessing, and I feel really lucky to be here with you guys. And you guys just keep sharing your light, keep sharing this gift with other people, and just keep sharing, like, you show up to the best you that you can possibly be for your audience, right? For the people that need to hear your message, because there's so many people out there that need to hear just from you guys. So I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing, amazing day. Go out and serve your people, and know that you guys will be greatly, greatly rewarded. So thanks so much for letting me serve you guys tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I will get the recording to you guys very, very shortly. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll talk to you guys all really, really soon. All right, bye. I'm just gonna look through these chats quick. I think it's like everybody. You guys are so welcome. All right, I love you guys so much. Go out there and kill it. Serve all the people, and don't be scared. Someone needs to hear you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.